Hey, I used to think homeopathy was a legitimate medical science. But then I learned some things about it that made me stop believing in it. And if I tell you, you might too. Hi, welcome to Rationable, where we talk about how science can help you fact check your world. I'm Abhijit, and I'm going to be telling you my story on how I used to be a believer in homeopathy and how that belief changed. Let's get into that right now. So, when I was a kid, I used to take homeopathy. I took it for several different ailments. Now, I'm not going to go into which ones because first of all, they're a bit embarrassing, and secondly, I don't think it's really relevant. But let's just say I did take it. Now, I wasn't a hardcore believer, but my parents were, and so were a lot of my relatives, and we just took it for granted that homeopathy was a legitimate medical science. Now, when I was a kid, I was taken to a homeopath who then, checked my pulse, and he was very thoughtful, and he listened to it, and he checked his watch, and he listened and felt and thought, and then asked me questions about how stressed I was, what was school like, was I sleeping well, what are the other aspects of my life, what are the things that I ate, what are the things that I drank, how much sleep, how many hours, a lot of different aspects to my life. And I told him happily, and it's not like there were a lot of people who were that interested in my life at the time, but I went for it. Then I took the medicine, and for some weird reason, it actually made matters worse. A lot worse. I don't know how, I still to this day can't explain it. But I went back to the homeopath and I said, listen, this is supposed to be making me better, and now it's getting worse. So what's the deal? And he looked at me and he said, well, things have to get worse before they get better, don't they? Needless to say, that was not encouraging. So I just went with it, but I stopped taking this homeopathic medicine after a certain point because I felt that it was doing me more harm than good, and just let it slide. Now, many years down the line, I still thought that homeopathy probably still had some legitimate use, but it's just that it didn't work for me. Now, a lot of people gave me a lot of different reasons why it might not have. For instance, maybe it was just not matching up with my metabolism, or that somehow it didn't agree with me, and that it worked for some people and it didn't work for other people, and it was kind of 50-50 either way, or that it works over long periods of time, so I should be taking that medicine for a long time to feel its effects. Either way, I carried on with my life. Now, I went to the UK and I was studying my MA over there, and I was learning how to write better. It was an MA in writing. So I had a dissertation where I wanted to write a science fiction novel. And this was going to be a hard science fiction novel. So I was looking up ancient aliens and ancient tech because I thought, what if we took off and made first contact with a bunch of aliens and we found out they were humans? How freaky would that be? Wouldn't that be mind-blowing? But then I wanted to really figure out whether there was a chance that there were ancient humans who had managed to go to a different planet. And I started looking around, and I didn't find a single shred of evidence to show that anyone, thousands of years ago even, would have been able to develop or even had developed the technology to be able to go to a different planet. And this was shocking to me because I am a science fiction nerd. I love that stuff, and I really wanted to believe. And it turned out that it didn't check out. So what am I supposed to do? So while I was on this ride of figuring out things I was wrong about my whole life, I said, hey, why don't we check out something about homeopathy? How does that work? And I found this.
I have to do something now which seems a little bit strange for a magician, but I'm going to take some medication. This is a full bottle of Calms Forte. I'll explain that in just a moment. Ignore the instructions. That's what the government has put in there to confuse you, I'm sure. I will take enough of these. Indeed, the whole container. 32 caplets of Calms Forte.
So that was the opening of James Randi's TED Talk. Now let's skip to the end and see what happens to him after he's taken all those sleeping pills.
Now, I popped some pills earlier. I have to explain that to you. Homeopathy. Let's find out what that's all about. You've heard of it. It's an alternative form of healing, right? Homeopathy actually consists, and that's what this is. This is Calms Forte, 32 caplets of sleeping pills. I forgot to tell you that. I just ingested 6.5 days worth of sleeping pills. 6.5 days, that certainly is a fatal dose. It says right on the back here, in case of overdose, contact your poison control center immediately, and it gives an 800 number. Keep your seats, it's going to be okay. I don't really need it. Because I've been doing this stunt for audiences all over the world for the last 8 or 10 years, taking fatal doses of homeopathic sleeping pills. Why don't they affect me? The answer may surprise you. What is homeopathy? It's taking a medicine that really works and diluting it down, well beyond Avogadro's limit, diluting it down to the point where there's none of it left. Now, folks, this is not just a metaphor I'm going to give you now. It's true. It's exactly equivalent to taking one 325 milligram aspirin tablet, throwing it into the middle of Lake Tahoe, and then stirring it up, obviously with a very big stick, and waiting 2 years or so until the solution is homogeneous. Then when you get a headache, you take a sip of this water, and voila, it is gone. Now, that is true. That is what homeopathy is all about. And another claim that they make, you'll love this one. The more dilute the medicine is, they say, the more powerful it is. Now, wait a minute. We heard about a guy in Florida, the poor man. He was on homeopathic medicine. He died of an overdose. He forgot to take his pill. Work on it. Work on it. It's a ridiculous thing. It is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what we're doing believing in all this nonsense over all these years.
And then I found out that James Randi's analogy of one drop in Lake Tahoe wasn't even close to the actual dilutions that homeopathy uses. Because then I found this video.
Homeopaths claim that the more you dilute an active ingredient in water, the stronger medicine it becomes. Most homeopathic remedies are marked 30C. What does that mean? It means 1 part medicine to 100 to the power of 30 parts water. How much? A drop in a fish tank? No?
A fish tank is nowhere near big enough. The swimming pool doesn't provide enough dilution.
Not even a lake. What about a drop in the ocean?
But it turns out that even the sea isn't big enough. For the really approved homeopathic recipes, in order to get 1 molecule of the active substance, you need to imbibe all the atoms in the solar system. To science, just doesn't make sense.
Even homeopaths acknowledge that there is not a single molecule of active ingredient in the bottle they sell you. It's just water. So how can it possibly work? In an attempt to resolve the paradox, homeopathy boldly paddles further up the creek of pseudoscience, claiming that water somehow has a memory of the now completely absent active ingredient. But wouldn't water also have memory of other, more common impurities it's come into contact with? Salt, urine. Scientists have calculated that in each glass of water we drink, at least 1 molecule has passed through the bladder of Oliver Cromwell.
So this really blew my mind because I was thinking, how could James Randi and Richard Dawkins, who are two incredible science communicators, be talking about homeopathy like this? Like, how did this happen? Like, I've been believing a lie my whole life. How could this work? I mean, if it did, if homeopathy was this much of a scam, why was everybody taking it? Why was everybody swearing by it? I couldn't figure it out. So I kept digging, and then I posted the Richard Dawkins video on Facebook, as you do. Not a good idea, as it turned out. So I got a bit of a backlash. There were lots of people who were really pissed that I dissed their favorite pet alternative medicine. And I was trying to figure out, like, what did I do? I didn't call anybody stupid. I said, hey, homeopathy fans, you might want to check this out. This is some mind-blowing stuff. Like, this has just changed my world. And it seems legit. So in the course of that extremely hard conversation, where I had apparently insulted my friend's intelligence for believing in homeopathy, which I hadn't. I had just stated a fact. I had said, please have a look at this video. This is going to blow your mind. Like, you might want to be aware of this new information. Instead, I was being treated as if I just called them out on something really nasty. Like, why? But I kept saying that homeopathy is one of the most deeply studied treatment regimes in existence. Over 800 studies have been done to understand its effects, and none of them have managed to prove that it works. So there's got to be something wrong here. So then I started wondering, so if it is so wrong, how does it work, so to speak? Why do my friends believe in it so passionately? So I started looking that up, and I found that there were three essential reasons why it might work. One is the placebo effect. So the placebo effect, and this is a very deep topic which I do not want to go diving all the way into, but I just want to say that the placebo effect is not a real, substantial, beneficial effect. It is your body believing that you are being healed when you are in fact not. It can lower pain levels, it can lower maybe a headache, it can make you feel better because you believe you're being treated. But it is temporary. It's not going to treat you of COVID. It's not going to cure anything. The placebo effect is essentially unsubstantial. That's why most medicines are tested against the placebo effect, because that is how you figure out whether you're just imagining the benefits or whether a medicine is actually having a substantial benefit on your system. So that is one. The second reason is the body's natural ability to heal itself. So, as I said before, this long-term treatment plan that a lot of my friends and relatives had told me about was that, you have to take homeopathy for a long period of time for it to have any beneficial effect on you. And the fact is that with a lot of conditions, your body does heal itself. Like when you have a headache, when you have indigestion, when you have a rash, when you have an itch, when you have an ache, or you have a pain somewhere, these things eventually subside depending on what you have. So a lot of conditions kind of go away by themselves. Even the common cold or a broken limb, they heal naturally. And with some chronic ailments, those have peaks and troughs. So for example, you could be having a peak, you could be having a really bad time because you're feeling really unwell, whatever your chronic condition is, and you take some homeopathic pills and you start getting better. But this is the natural course of the disease. It keeps going up and down. So you take it when you're up and then you go down and you say, oh, homeopathy did it. And you go up and you go down and say, oh, homeopathy did it. And it just keeps going like that. So this last one for the chronic ailments is called regression to the mean. So it's the placebo effect, it's your body's natural healing, and it is regression to the mean. And these are the three main reasons why people feel like homeopathy works. Now, there are a few more biases and other reasons why homeopathy works, and those are in the article that I've written and linked down in the description. So please go check that out. That's at berationable.com. So that is how I found out that homeopathy doesn't work. It was just 2 main videos that really turned me around, but then I kept digging and I kept looking for answers. And I found these tons of studies and all this evidence. The fact is that physics, chemistry, and biology just do not agree with any of the principles that homeopathy tries to stand up on. So, my advice to you is, if you think homeopathy works, I want you to try and challenge your beliefs and try and find unbiased, independent, scientific sources to see if you're right or not. With me, I found I was wrong to believe that homeopathy worked. And I tried to go to sources that were as reliable as possible. Nature.com, Scientific American, and a whole bunch of others. I'll link a few of those references down in the description too, so you can start your journey. And if you already agree with me and know that homeopathy doesn't work, then thanks for sticking around to the end anyway and hearing my story. I hope this helped you in some way. Please share this with people who might be on similar journeys or who you think might have started questioning their belief in homeopathy. I hope it helps them and I hope it helped you. And if you enjoy content like this, which is talking about science and trying to understand the world we live in and trying to understand the ways that we think and the biases that we have and challenging our own belief systems, then please subscribe and ring that bell. Please tell me, what are your beliefs when it comes to alternative medicines? Are there some alternative medicines that you think work? Do you believe in them? Are you willing to challenge your beliefs on them? And were you proven wrong about certain beliefs that you might have had? Tell me your story in the comments. So please join me on patreon.com/rationable and support the work that I do. I will try and make some special content for you and give you a special preview of my interviews and also give you the priority to ask questions to my guests before anyone else. So, see you there and see you on berationable.com. Thank you all for watching and stay rationable.